What is up, sexy beast? Crazy Rabbit here, and today we're going to be doing the DSR versus the SVG and looking at both these weapons all in round 50, so let's go ahead and get the shit started. So the first thing I'm going to do is let you guys watch and listen to both these unupgraded versions and the upgraded versions, just so you guys can get a feel for them, so here you go. Alright, and the first thing we're going to be looking at is going to be the fire rate. So when I line up both these sniper rifles side by side and start shooting at the exact same time, the DSR is going to be a little bit faster, and when I mean a little, I really do mean just like a teeny tiny bit. Like, it doesn't really start showing until you're on like the last 3 shots. That's when you kind of notice that the DSR was pulling away. But if you were actually playing zombies, you're never gonna notice this. Like, with some weapons, you could definitely tell that the MG42 is gonna be faster than the Gorgon. Like, you obviously know that. But with these sniper rifles, if you were to use one and then immediately start using the other, you would never be able to tell that the DSR is faster just because their fire rates are so similar and there's such a little difference. But it is always good to know that the DSR does have a superior fire rate. So the next thing we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the accuracy, so recoil and hipfire. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hipfire first. So when it comes to hipfire, this was kind of hard to tell with sniper rifles because you just have so little shots and the shots kind of go everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and say hipfire is going to be even. Neither of these weapons have good hipfire because they're sniper rifles. Duh, like what do you expect? And I really didn't feel like one had an advantage over the other. The reticles looked to be about the same. Every time I was hipfiring with them, the bullets really never went where I wanted them to go. It always just kind of went in a random ass area. So when it comes to hipfire, they're going to be even. Now when it comes to the recoil, that's where it's going to be a little bit different. When it comes to the recoil, I'm definitely going to give this one to the SVG. The DSR has a lot of recoil and it just goes way up, while the SVG I feel like just kind of bumps up a little bit and then immediately comes back down, while the DSR kind of goes up and then immediately goes like left or right. So the DSR kind of goes all over the place with its recoil, while the SVG I feel like is kind of manageable. But since we're actually talking about ADS sort of in a way, I also want to just point out that I fucking hate the SVG scope, man. All that shit that it has on it is just super annoying. I'd much rather have the DSR scope because you can actually see through it and you don't have all these lines going everywhere than the SVG. But that one is just my personal preference and really isn't part of this comparison whatsoever. I just thought I should let you guys know. So when it comes to overall accuracy, you gotta give this one to the SVG. That DSR does have some mean recoil. Alright, so next up is going to be the reload speed. So the reload speed was actually kind of hard to do because usually when I compare reload speeds, I try to line it up at the exact moment the gun starts to reload. And with the DSR, that was kind of hard to tell just because of how you exit the scope, because it goes from like a black screen to the actual weapon itself. While in Black Ops 3, that's not necessarily the case, so I'd actually go by when the weapon has 0 ammo in its actual magazine. And when I did it like that, the reload speed was the exact same. They both reload at the same time, they both stop reloading at the same time, and they both get back to shooting at the same time. Now usually with a lot of other weapons, they'll be like on par with each other during their load, but when it actually comes to getting back to shooting, one weapon might be a little bit slower than the other. But when it comes to these two sniper rifles, they're going to be tied when it comes to reload speed. Alright, and lastly, before we actually take a look at the upgraded versions, let's take a look at how much ammo these things actually hold. And the DSR is going to hold 4 in the magazine and 48 in stock, and when you upgrade to the Dead Specimen Reactor 5000, it's going to hold 8 in the magazine and 96 in stock. While the SVG 100, on the other hand, is going to hold 6 in the magazine and 60 in stock, so a little bit more than the DSR. And when you upgrade it to the Iken Hazutsa words, it's going to have 10 in the magazine and 100 in stock, so it does carry a little bit more than the DSR. And if you were looking at this in terms of like an SMG or an assault rifle or something like that, you'd definitely say like, oh, those 6 shots really don't matter. But since we're talking in terms of sniper rifles, and with sniper rifles every shot counts, those 6 shots are definitely going to matter over time. So when it comes to ammo, you definitely got to give it to the SVG. It holds more unupgraded and it has more when you actually pack punch it. Alright, so now that we have these weapons upgraded, let's go and take a look at all those tests over again. And if we take a look at the fire rate, compare them side by side, start shooting at the exact same time, the DSR again is going to come out victorious. It's going to be the exact same as the unupgraded version, nothing really changes there. And if we take a look at the accuracy, that's where things kind of change up a little bit. When it comes to hipfire, they're going to be the same, nothing really changes there. They're going to act the exact same as they would with the unupgraded versions. But when it comes to recoil, that's where it changes up a little bit. When you actually upgrade the DSR, its recoil becomes way more manageable, unlike the SVG, where I feel feel like its recoil actually got a little bit worse. You can see them side by side. The DSR kind of barely moves, while I feel like the SVG just kind of goes way up and then way back down. So when it comes to the recoil, you definitely have to give this one to the DSR, and that's really the only thing that kind of changed when you actually upgrade these things besides the ammo. The reload speed is going to be the exact same, nothing changes there. The ammo, you got to give that one to the SVG because it carries a couple more shots than the DSR. So unupgraded wise, just by going through all these tests, you definitely got to give the victory to the SVG, but when you actually pack punch it, again, just by going through these tests, you got to give it to the DSR. Alright, so now that we've went through all those tests, let's go and take a look at both these weapons on round 50. Let's start with the DSR first. So the DSR in high rounds is a somewhat decent weapon. I would definitely say it's by no means the worst, or by any means the best. I would say it's right smack dab in the middle. On round 50, you could probably get around 24 kills, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, all really depending on how good your aim is. And with the DSR, I would definitely recommend double pack punching it to actually get the iron sights. It'll just make your life so much easier. Trust me, if you want to use this weapon, like at all period, I would definitely recommend throwing the iron sights on it because, I mean, how many times you're going to be sitting halfway across the map quick scoping zombies? And on round 50, I would say it's going to take you about 2 to 3 shots to the face to actually start killing, and plus you have the penetration power, so that bullet's going to go through the initial zombie and also hit a bunch behind it, so over time you're going to start to notice that the zombies are getting easier and easier to actually kill. And like I said previously, I would definitely put like the kill limit around 24, somewhere in that general area. You could probably definitely get a lot more, or if you just really suck at quick scopes and have lost a lot of 1v1s on Rust, you probably won't get that many. So I would definitely not recommend really to have the DSR in high rounds. I mean, it's a pretty powerful weapon, but it's a bolt action sniper rifle, and you really don't carry that much ammo with it. And again, I know it's a sniper rifle, so you're really not going to carry a fuck ton of ammo, but I really just wouldn't recommend to have this weapon like past round 20s or 30s. Somewhere in that general area, I would probably swap it out. Alright, so now let's go and talk about the SVG. So I actually believe the SVG is one of the most powerful sniper rifles in zombies history. A lot of people might think the Draken is, but that's just because the Draken has a fast fire rate. That's why the Draken's so powerful. The SVG, on the other hand, is a bolt action, so it's going to be incredibly slow, but I think each shot it actually puts out is very, very powerful. But even though it is one of the most powerful sniper rifles, on round 50, it's going to behave almost the exact same as the DSR. It's going to take you a couple shots to actually start finishing off the zombies, plus you have the penetration power, so over time, you're going to start to notice that you're killing zombies a lot faster than you would. And I would also put the kill limit at somewhere around 24. You're really not going to be doing much more than that, unless you want to use gobble gum or you happen to get a max ammo or something like that. You're really not going to be clearing waves and waves of zombies. You're probably going to clear one wave, and that's about it. And when it comes to Black Ops 3 sniper rifles, you just have so many better options. I would prefer the Locust over the SVG. I definitely would prefer the Draken over the SVG. Even though it is extremely powerful, it's just a bolt action sniper rifle, and really once a bolt action sniper rifle starts to require 2 and 3 shots, that's when you want to trade it out, similar with the DSR. And I would definitely recommend, I believe it's like the ELO sight or the red dot sight, throw that on here if you actually do want to use the SVG, because you do not need to use a scope in zombies. So when it comes to which of these weapons is the better weapon to have on round 50, I guess I have to give it to the SVG just because it is actually more powerful and it does carry a little bit more ammo. But in reality, like in the big picture, I'm going to say they're tied. These weapons behave very, very similar. There is very, very little differences between them. When it comes to which weapon do I actually prefer, I'm going to go with the DSR just because I really hate the SVG scope. I really dislike those sights. It just annoys me so much. And if you don't have that ELO sight on it, it's just going to piss you off beyond belief until you actually throw it on. So I am very curious to know, what do you guys think of these sniper rifles? Which one do you guys happen to prefer? Let me know in the comments. And if you guys could, please leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Peace.